Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, sports fans, to the show. I'd like to introduce our guests with us today. We have Mike, we have Ayo, both football lovers, and I'm your host, T. Now, today there are three key issues that are currently happening in football that we need to talk about. Number one, FA Cup is upon us. What are our predictions? Who do you think is going to take it? I am a Man U fan, so personally, you know where I stand with that prediction. Secondly, Wenger is out. That's an emotional topic. It's a hard one to discuss, but we have to talk about it. What happens to Arsenal? Was this man a failure or was he a success? And finally, the World Cup is here. Who do you think will be in the semifinals? You can begin sending your tweets through. Who do you think will be in the semifinals? So let's begin with FA Cup predictions. Yes. Gentlemen, I know your team is not there. Our team is playing.
It doesn't matter.
But let's be objective and just have a proper football discussion. Kati ya Man U na Chelsea gani kali?
I think Chelsea. Chelsea will carry the day. Yes. And I think so because I think Conte will want to live on a high.
Okay.
And he has time to prepare for that game. And I think it is possible that...
you know, sometimes you don't always just get... wishes were horses, beggars would ride. You don't just get stuff because you want.
Yes.
Is his team capable of stopping Mourinho?
Yeah, the team is capable.
This season they've met twice. How has it gone?
Chelsea has not been good this season.
Okay.
But I don't want us to judge the FA final with how they've been over the season.
Okay.
Because I believe they can put up a show that people wouldn't expect.
All right. Mike, what do you think?
I'm going with Man United.
All right.
Not only because I'm a Man United fan, but if there's someone who is a big game player and actually a final game player, I think Mourinho is it. I think he's lost maybe 1-2 finals in his managerial career. So that's why I'd pick him. I think he can, Conte, yes, can organize his team for one game, but I think Mourinho can do it better.
Will Lukaku be there and does it matter?
Lukaku needs to be there for Man United to win. I think his presence there in the team gives the team, first of all, an outlet up front, but also just that physique and that energy that they need. I think if you've seen their latest games, they haven't been playing as well because that has been lacking up.
Okay. Let's wait and see. In our next show, we'll be seeing who was right.
Yep.
It's a
I strongly believe I will be right.
You say 2-1? 1-0, 3-0?
2-1.
2-1?
It will be a tight game. But I think...
will it be an exciting game?
I don't think so.
What's your score prediction?
Very tactical, 1-0 from a header.
All right, Smalling probably. He's been scoring a lot in the head recently. Wenger.
Yes.
Wenger.
Maxi Wenger.
This man is the last of his type of coaches.
Yes.
Men who have been with one club, loyal to one club. But if Man U is anything to go by, when men like those leave, the club gets dented. Where does this leave Arsenal? Are they going to get out of this? Are they going to make it? What next for Arsenal?
I think Arsenal will struggle. We have to be honest with ourselves. Like, Arsenal will struggle, and we've seen it. Ferguson was a very good coach, a very strong coach. And as much, and you see, at least for Ferguson, he had someone who he had picked to come after him. But for Wenger, we cannot hear any name. We just
we hear names. We've had Vieira may come. Recently, we had Allegri is going to come. You know, this is just rumors.
Yes.
There are names that are being pipped here and there.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. But
what name would you like to choose? Which one do you think would give Arsenal hope?
Okay, I think the Fiorentina coach, Pioli.
Yeah.
Pioli would make for me a good...
Why?
Because...
maybe because his team often lands where Arsenal lands, yeah? I wouldn't know how to go on without Wenger.
I wouldn't look at it that way, but I know Wenger has always wanted someone who shares his beliefs and his philosophy.
But is this Wenger's club?
But one thing that I think, okay, he could be a nominee of Wenger, but I believe one thing that Pioli will add that probably Wenger doesn't have is the defensive aspect of the game.
Okay.
If we're looking at a big name, Allegri.
Why would Allegri choose to come to Arsenal to play Europa Cup football and finish mid-table? I think the only coach who would stand to benefit from moving to Arsenal maybe someone like Jacob Ghost Muller. Mike, who do you think should take over Arsenal. How do they get out of this hole they're in?
I think it's a tricky job to replace Wenger, considering the amount of years and services given to the club. However, I think Arsenal will probably have an easier time, not an easy one, but an easier time of replacing their manager than Man United had. The next United manager needed to maintain
a high standard.
The
only way is up for Arsenal.
The only way is up for Arsenal. So I think
keep getting to relegation.
Yeah, I think they can actually even experiment. No, this is actually a good thing for Arsenal.
Anyway.
They can experiment with someone and give him time to take the club
You
forward.
only need to watch Arsenal TV to know that no one is going to be given time.
No one is going to be given
They
time.
don't have the patience to wait as a mid-level team for years, waiting for this to work out. Anyway, let's move on. There's great debate. Was this man a success? Was this man a failure? Now, I'm sure those who look at 12 years ago have great emotions that come with it. The days when the likes of Thierry and Pires were playing, this man was a great success then. But when I look at things like principles from the Bible, it talks about that those who are a success are those who finish strong, not just start strong. This man did not finish strong. This man has not left the team better than he found it. So is he a success or a failure?
I think he has left the team better than he found it. He has left football generally better than he found it. And I think if in your mind you're trying to judge him against trophies, then you're going wrong. But I think generally in his career he's a successful.
What is the role of a manager?
The role of a manager is to manage a team.
Towards?
Keep a team together.
Towards?
Success.
Okay, has he been successful in the last 10 years?
Yes, but success could be successful careers of players, which he has done.
If someone gets saved today.
Saved?
Yes.
Yes.
They accept Jesus Christ as their Lord and Savior. And for the first month, they're burning with fire for Christ. And then after that, they get their foot off the pedal. And for years to follow, you can't see any Christ in them. Would you say this person has walked the walk properly?
Christianity is a journey, and it is something that someone strives, like we are told, to try and be like Christ every day of our life.
Yes.
However, I wouldn't, like Mike said earlier, I wouldn't mix these two issues together, because you can look at the discipline of Wenger and borrow it as something that, as Christians, we should adapt. You can look at the consistency. You see, he is very, he has specific beliefs that he has stayed with.
You're an Arsenal fan. Let's go to someone who's not. Mike, what do you think? Success, failure. How do we summarize has this man finished strong? Has he left a great legacy behind? Has he done the very things Scripture commends us to do? Leave a legacy that will outlast us. Be able to finish strong and not just start strong and die off. What has this man done?
I'd term him a success, although from different aspects as those that Ayo has mentioned. I think the biggest thing we can borrow probably from Wenger is an aspect of discipleship.
Okay.
I think how he has mentored many players, and walked with them and young players and given them a chance, even at times when it seemed illogical for him to do so. I think
Ramsey.
Yeah, I think that's a good example of discipleship.
Okay.
And I think also when you look at it, Wenger has not ended at a point where he's a complete failure. There are some managers who end
where the club is in factions and turmoil,
relegation, bankruptcy, and all that. I think he's leaving it at a point where we're judging him according to the standards that he set, not according to other standards outside. Okay. And I think those standards were so high in the beginning of the first 7 years. But yet, even when we look at those first 7 years and even him now, the principles are still there. Certain principles are still there, certain things have not been compromised on, and I think that's something we can learn as Christians, that even as we walk in our walk with Christ, there are certain things we never have to compromise on, no matter how
Stick
bad,
to what you believe, what your value system is.
no matter how bad the world tells us we are doing.
I agree with when you're a Christian, not when you're a manager. When you're a manager, you must adopt. That's why this man had to get out. Anyway, Let's move on. World Cup. Last
upon
four.
us.
It's upon us. Greatest footballing show.
Yes.
Who out of this will make it to the last four?
South America, Brazil.
Okay. No Messi.
Sadly, I don't think Argentina will make it.
Okay.
Despite the genius of Messi.
Okay.
Eastern Europe, I think Russia will try and get themselves there.
This I must ask, how?
Yes, Russia. If you teams that have hosted the World Cup
Let's go through it.
normally,
South Africa?
normally perform.
South Africa?
They didn't get far.
Okay.
But at least
USA?
Can you remember
USA?
the performance of
USA? Japan and South Korea?
use France? Had France won anything before France 98?
France were a good team already.
Yeah, France are a good team.
But at least I can say that they didn't win anything before.
No,
Europe?
they did.
Lem-
They did.
lem-
Hadn't they taken
They had
Europe
the
before?
Euro Cup.
No,
yeah.
but they hadn't won the World Cup. Is what
Yeah,
I'm
but they
saying.
had won the Europe Cup.
Let
Europe,
me, let me finish my list so that we don't belabor that point. So I said Brazil,
Russia.
Europe, let's look at Germany,
Okay.
and then I believe one African team will get there.
Which one would you choose if you could only choose one?
I suppose I'm looking at Nigeria.
This, I must say, that is biased simply because you're Nigerian.
No. In what sense and form am I in Nigeria? I just look at how they
Your
play.
last name, Ayelabola.
Look at how many top players they have.
You
as
cannot
compared
tell me Nigeria will go further than Egypt with Salah.
No, how I'm looking at it is this. We've had an African team get at least to the quarterfinals. You remember with Samoa Gyan missing the penalty and so forth. So I believe that we'll have an African team. Okay, you might say that I've talked about Nigeria biasly, but I think an African team will
get
at
to the
least go
semis.
past the quarters.
To the semis.
Yes, I believe.
That'll be the first time historically.
Historically, yes.
Mike.
I'd really like to watch the World Cup that I will be watching. 'Cause
Where Russia is in the
where
semis.
Russia is in the semis and Nigeria makes it to. Were you in Nigeria recently?
Let's not go there.
Okay. For me, I think I'm looking at the history of the World Cup, and traditionally, European teams do well in a European World Cup. So I'm seeing an all-European semi-final.
Oh, come on now.
Yes. I just think the Europeans, the technique, the organization is much better.
The boring
than,
football.
is much better than
So
anyone
we'll have a
else.
boring
We'll
semi-final.
have a boring
And actually,
semis.
one team to watch, Denmark.
I don't know what World Cup you're watching.
One team to watch. I didn't say where they will get, but at
You
least
should have even said Iceland. What are your four European teams?
My four are Germany,
Okay, France.
Spain, France, and Belgium.
Not bad. My top four goes to Brazil, for sure. Germany, for sure. France, for sure. And the last one, I leave it for a surprise. I think we're going to have a surprise in that last lot. I'd say teams to watch are things like Iceland. They surprised us in the European Cup. I would love for an African team to get there, but I'm not too hopeful about it. But let's wait and see. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Yes?
My team to watch will be Peru.
Peru.
Yes.
yeah, actually they took Argentina to the wire.
Yeah.
Argentina don't have much wire to be taken to.
I think that's why you mentioned Peru, if I'm not wrong. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us. Till next week, see you later.